Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Lora Rolling and this is part 1 of the Christmas lights ornament tutorial. This is the Christmas lights ornament that we will make. It is so colorful and cute, super festive. Today we're going to be making the unit called Bottom Bow. We just have a few materials to get ready, so let's get them listed and then we can get started. Let's go. So the beads that we're going to be using in today's video are all Miyuki Delicas. I have opaque dark cranberry, opaque delphinium, silver lined green, opaque yellow AB, white pearl AB, and opaque chartreuse AB. Just to keep it easy, I'm going to call this red, blue, green, yellow, white, and light green. We're also going to need some beading thread and a beading needle. I like to use the Eslon Fire in the color Crystal, and I have 4-pound. You can also use 6-pound thread. And I also like to use a size 10 beading needle. You could use a size 12 if that's what you prefer. To hold on to my thread, I like to use long nose pliers at the end. And then I cut my thread with scissors. And then we end the tail by using the fire method, and I'm going to show you how to do that in today's video. Alrighty, so we just need to thread our needle with 3 feet of thread, and then we can get started. So now I have threaded my needle, and I'm going to pick up my first 3 beads, which are 3 red beads. Then I'm going to take my beads and I'm going to pull them down to the bottom of my thread, leaving about a 6-inch tail. Then I'm going to tie a square knot, which means I'm going to cross over and pull my thread through. And then I'm going to cross over again on the top and pull my tail through. So now you have what looks like a little snowman. I'm going to put my 2 fingers in the bottom loop and I'm going to pull the top loop tight until it is a knot. Now I have my little tail right here, and I'm not going to get it to touch the flame, but I'm going to get it super close just so it melts it. Just like that, and it makes this teensy little bead right here. So now I have my 2 fingers through the loop, and I'm going to pull on the long part of the thread while I'm twisting the loop until that little bead at the end that we just singed meets the long thread. Now I'm going to take my thumbnail and I'm going to pull that little knot down to the beads until it's as far down and as tight as possible, and it makes the beads look like a little triangle. And now I'm going to kind of tug my thread over to one side so that it looks like the knot is coming out of one of those red beads. The next thing I'm going to do is pick up a red bead and a green bead. Now it looks like our thread is coming out of this bead, so I'm going to sew through the bead that it's not coming out of. And I'm going to try to get my new beads that I just added to sit right on top of the beads that they're on top of. Now let's pick up 2 more red beads, and we're coming out of this bead. Let's sew through the next bead. Okay, so I started out this video with a coughing attack. So I had to press pause and now I'm back. Okay, so now we have set our 2 new red beads right on top of their buddies. Let's pick up 2 more beads, which is 1 green and 1 red. Coming out of this bead, let's sew through the next bead, and we're also going to sew through the bead that's right below it. So we're sewing through 2 beads this time, and each time we do that, what we're doing is we're stepping up and putting our thread in position to start the next row. So we've finished the first row, we've finished the second row, and now we get to start the third row. So row number 3 starts with a red and a green bead. So we're coming out of this bead, we're going to sew through the green bead. Making sure those beads sit on top of their buddies. And now let's pick up 1 red bead. And we're coming out of this bead, we're going to skip the bead that's set down, and we're going to sew through the bead that's poking up. That is our up bead. We're always going to sew through the up bead. So now let's pick up 2 green beads, and we're coming out of this bead. Let's sew through the next. Let's pick up 1 red bead, and skipping the down bead, we're going to sew through the up bead. Let's pick up a green and a red and sew through the next bead. Always making sure that our beads are sitting on top of their buddies. Let's pick up 1 red bead, and we're coming out of this bead. We're going to skip the down bead, and we're going to sew through the up bead and also sew through the bead below it. So we're sewing through 2 beads, which means we're stepping up so that we can start row number 4. Let's start row number 4 with 2 red beads. Coming out of this bead, let's sew through the next. Now let's pick up 1 red, sew through the up bead. Let's pick up 1 red and sew through the up bead. Let's pick up 2 green beads and sew through the next. Pick up 1 red and sew through the up bead. Pick up 1 red and sew through the up. I always turn my work as I go. It makes it easier for me to sew. That might help you also. Let's pick up 2 red beads. One red and then 1 red. Sewing through the up bead and the one right below that one. And now we are in position to start row number 5. Let's start with 2 red beads. 1 red, 1 red, 1 red, let's pick up 2 white beads, 1 red, 1 red, 1 red, 2 red, 1 red, 1 green, and 1 red. Sewing through 2 beads, and now we get to start row number 6. Let's start with 2 green beads, 1 red, 1 red, 1 red, 1 red, 2 white beads, 1 red, 1 red, 1 red, 1 red, 2 green, 1 red, 1 green, 1 green, 1 red. Sewing through 2 beads, and now we're starting row number 7. Let's start with 2 green beads, 1 green, 1 red, 1 green, 1 red, 1 red, 1 white, and 1 blue, 1 red, 1 red, 1 green, 1 red, 1 green, 2 green beads, 1 green, 1 green, 1 green, 1 green, and 1 green. Sewing through 2 beads. And now we're ready to start row number 8. Let's start with 1 white and 1 green bead. One green, 1 green, 1 green, 1 red, 1 red, 1 white, 2 white beads, 1 white, 1 red, 1 red, 1 green, 1 green, 1 green, 1 green and 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, and 1 white. Sewing through 2 beads. And now we are ready to start row number 9. I have a little knot in my thread though, so I'm just going to pull those 2 threads apart, straighten out my thread again, and we can start row number 9 by picking up 2 white beads, 1 green, 1 green, 1 green, 1 green, 1 red, 1 red, 1 white, 2 white beads, 1 white, 1 red, 1 red, 1 green, 1 green, 1 green, 1 green, 2 white beads, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, and 1 yellow. And sew through 2 beads. Oh, I only made it through 1. So now I'm sewing through my second. And now we are in position to start row number 10. Let's start with 2 white beads. One green, 1 blue, 1 green, 1 green, 1 green, 1 red, 1 white, 1 white, 2 white beads, 1 white, 1 white, 1 red, 1 green, 1 green, 1 green, 1 green, 1 green, 2 white, 1 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 white, and 1 white. Sewing through 2 beads. And now we are ready to start row 11. Let's start with 2 white beads. 1 white, 1 green, 1 green, 1 green, 1 yellow, 1 green, 1 red, 1 white, 1 white, 2 white beads, 1 light green, 1 white, 1 red, 1 green, 1 green, 1 green, 1 green, 1 green, 1 white, 2 white beads, 1 white, 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 1 white. Sewing through 2 beads. And now we get to start row number 12. Let's start with 2 white beads. 1 white, 1 green, 1 green, 1 green, 1 green, 1 green, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 red and 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 green, 1 red, 1 green, 1 green, 1 green, 1 white, 2 white beads, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 red, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, and 1 white. And that completes our 12 rows. If this is the first triangle that you've done with me, this is the complete triangle, but now we need to add what we call connection rows. That means that we're going to have beads that connect to the next unit. And sometimes we're going to have them on one side, some other sides will not have them, and every triangle is different. So this triangle, we're going to have no connector beads on this side, we are going to have connector beads on this side, and we're not going to have any connector beads on top. But we do need to add our points on the 3 points of the triangle. So let's start by adding 1 white bead at this corner, turning this corner into a point. And then what I do, just to make it easier for me to sew through these, because we're going to weave our thread to the next point, I'm going to flip it over. It just makes it so much easier to sew through. Now I'm going to sew through all of the beads, 1 for each row, and I'm going to just kind of follow this quadrant line right here. You don't have to though, you can pick any random bead as long as you sew 1 bead in each row. That way you hide your thread completely. And we're going to work our way until we get up to that, well, to the bottom point. So let's just sew through the beads. I took 2 at a time right there. I'm going to take another 1, and I'm just going to work my way all the way up, just sewing through the beads without picking up any new ones. We're not adding any beads at this point. Not yet anyway. And at this point, if you've gotten through all the way to this point in the video, then throw me an emoji in the comments. Put a bow in the comments. And if you don't know how to do an emoji in the comments, just type bow in the comment section and a little bow should pop up. And then you can just tap on that, or you can just type bow. And that lets me know that you've gotten this far in the video and that you're enjoying the content, and it is helping my algorithm for you to do that. So you get pop-ups when my videos come out, or at least it shows in your feed that YouTube thinks that you like the video, so they'll give you more of them. So that's what that's doing. And I just love seeing you comment, really. I like to see who's, you know, engaged in this and who's not. Alrighty, so now we have reached to the bottom point. Let's add one white bead, making that corner a point. And now we're going to add beads up this side. So we're going to add one white, one white, one white, one white, one green, one green, one green, one green, one green, one white, and one white. Now we have reached our third corner. Let's make it a point by adding one white bead. And now we're going to, just without picking up any more beads, we're going to hide our thread. So we're going to sew up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oops, don't want our thread to get caught, and 6 beads. And now I'm going to do what I call a zigzag. I'm coming out of the top of this bead. Let's sew the opposite direction in the bead right next to it. So, and then we're coming out of the bottom of this bead. Let's sew up the bead right next to that one. I call that a zigzag. It makes this last bead that we just added extra secure. And so now I'm going to just sew up 2 more beads, 1 and 2, hiding my thread. And now I'm going to zigzag again. I'm coming out of the top of this bead, so let's sew down the bead right next to it and up the bead next to that one. Sew up 2 more beads, 1 and 2. And now I feel that this is super secure. It's not going to come loose. And so now I feel like I can cut my thread. So I'm going to take my long nose pliers and hold on to my thread. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to try to get as close to the bead as possible without cutting the bead, and snip that thread right off. And now we have completed our bottom bow unit. We only need 1 of these, so you've already completed it. Wonderful. I will see you in a second. That was so much fun. Thank you so much for being here today and beading along with me. Remember to like and subscribe and hit that bell button so you're notified when the next video comes out. I can't wait to see you there. Thanks for watching.